Hello, English learners. Welcome back to English Practice with Julia. I am Julia, your host for today. If you are new here, I would like to tell you that we upload a new English learning video every day on our channel to help you improve your English faster. In today's episode, you are going to work on something very powerful, something that can completely change your English journey. Today, we're diving into a topic that so many learners struggle with: how to go from a 1 to B1 in English. A step-by-step plan that actually works. If you feel stuck at beginner level, if you can understand simple sentences but struggle to speak naturally, if you know vocabulary but can't build confident conversations, then this lesson is exactly for you. In this video, you will not only improve your English listening skills, but also your speaking, writing, thinking, and daily communication skills. We will go through a clear and realistic roadmap, step by step, so you understand what to focus on, what to stop doing, and what actually helps you move from basic English to independent, confident English. We'll talk about daily routines, practical study methods, real-life conversation practice, mindset shifts, grammar control, vocabulary expansion, and how to train your brain to think in English naturally. I will also give you many real-life examples and practice exercises in paragraph form so you can actively train while listening. By the end of this video, you won't just hope to reach B1 someday. You will understand exactly what to do every day, how to measure your progress, and how to build real confidence in English conversations. Before we begin, make sure to subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon if you want more practical English lessons like this every day. So, take a deep breath, relax your mind, grab a pen and paper if you'd like to take notes, and let's begin your journey from A1 to B1, step by step, together. If you are at A1 level right now, I want you to relax for a moment, take a deep breath, and understand something very important. You are not bad at English. You are at the beginning of the journey, and that is completely normal. Every fluent speaker you admire today once struggled with basic sentences, once translated, now in their head, once felt nervous while speaking. So first, remove pressure from your mind, because progress from A1 to B1 is not about talent. It is about direction and daily action. At A1 level, most learners can understand simple introductions, basic questions, short daily phrases, and slow conversations. You can say things like, "My name is," "I live in," "I like." You can order food, talk about your family, describe very simple routines. But when the conversation becomes a little longer, when someone speaks a little faster, or when you need to explain something in detail, you feel stuck. You search for words. You panic. Your mind becomes blank. That is not failure. That is simply a sign that your brain has not yet built enough automatic connections in English. And the goal of Moving from A1 to B1 is simple. We are training your brain to become comfortable with longer sentences, more natural grammar, everyday vocabulary, and independent communication. Now let me explain something clearly. B1 is not perfect English. B1 means you can handle daily life in English. You can explain your opinions in simple words. You can describe experiences. You can talk about plans. You can understand the main points in conversations. You can survive comfortably in English without depending on translation every second. So the question is, how do we build that ability step by step? The first thing you must understand is that A1 learners usually focus too much on random vocabulary. You memorize long lists of words, but you don't practice using them in real-life sentences. So today, we change that strategy completely. From now on, your learning must be sentence-based, not word-based. For example, instead of learning the word tired alone, you practice full sentences like, I feel tired after work. I was really tired yesterday. I'm too tired to cook tonight. When you practice sentences, your brain learns structure, grammar, and vocabulary together. Let's do a small practice right now. Imagine you are finishing your workday. Speak in your mind, or whisper if you can. Today was a busy day. I had many tasks. I answered emails. I talked to my manager. I feel tired but satisfied. Pause for a moment. Now, try to say it again, but this time a little smoother. Today was quite busy. I had several tasks to complete. I answered emails and spoke with my manager. I feel tired. Oh, but I'm happy with what I did. Do you see the difference? The second version is closer to B1. It is still simple, but it is more natural. This is how progress works, not by memorizing 50 difficult words, but by upgrading simple sentences into more flexible ones. Now let's talk about the daily routine that actually works. If you want to move from A1 to B1, you need daily exposure, not once a week, not only when you feel motivated, but every single day, even if it is only 30 minutes. Your daily structure should include 4 things: listening, speaking, reading, and writing. But don't panic. This does not mean 4 separate long sessions. You can combine them intelligently. For example, you listen to a short 5-minute story in simple English. You repeat sentences aloud. You read the chapter transcript. Then you write 5 sentences about your own life using similar structures. That single activity trains all 4 skills together. Let me give you a realistic daily life practice example. Imagine the topic is morning routine. First, listen to a simple paragraph like this in slow English. I usually wake up at 7 a.m. I brush my teeth and wash my face. Then I make coffee and check my phone. After that, I get dressed and leave for work. Pause. Now repeat it aloud, sentence by sentence. Then close your eyes and create your own version. I wake up at 6:30 on weekdays. I take a quick shower and prepare breakfast. Sometimes I listen to music while getting ready. Then I leave home around 8. This exercise may look simple, but this is exactly how you build B1 foundations. You are not just copying, you are creating. Now let's talk about grammar. Many A1 learners are afraid of grammar. They think they must understand every rule perfectly. But here is the truth. You do not need advanced grammar to reach B1. You need control of basic grammar. That means present simple, past simple, future forms like going to and will, basic conditionals, and common connectors like because, so, but, although. Let's practice upgrading grammar step by step. At A1 level, you might say, yesterday I go to market. At B1 level, you say, yesterday I went to the market because I needed some groceries. Notice what changed. Past tense is correct, and a reason is added. Now practice this transformation with me. Simple sentence. I watch TV. Upgrade it. I watched TV last night because I wanted to relax. Simple sentence. I study English. Upgrade it. I'm studying English every day because I want to improve my communication skills. This is how you train yourself. Another important step from A1 to B1 is learning to connect ideas. A1 sentences are short and separate. B1 sentences are connected and flowing instead of saying, I was tired. I went to bed early. You say, I was tired, so I went to bed early. Instead of, it was raining. We stayed home. You say, it was raining, so we decided to stay home. These small connectors change your level completely. Now let's do a longer speaking practice. Imagine your friend asks you, how was your weekend? At A1 level, you might answer, good. I go shopping. I meet my friend. Let's build a B1 version together. My weekend was quite good. On Saturday, I went shopping at the mall and bought a new jacket. In the evening, I met a friend for coffee and we talked for a few hours. On Sunday, I stayed at home and relaxed because I needed some rest. This is not advanced English, but it is independent English, and that is the goal. Now pause for a moment. Think about your own last weekend. Try to describe it in at least 6 sentences. Connect your ideas. Add reasons. Mention time expressions. Speak slowly but clearly. This is how you build fluency step by step. Another major shift from A1 to B1 is mindset. At A1 level, what many learners are afraid of mistakes. They wait until their sentence is perfect. But B1 learners understand something important. Communication is more important than perfection. If you make a small grammar mistake, but your message is clear, that is success. So from today, give yourself permission to speak imperfect English, because imperfect action builds perfect progress. Now let's talk about vocabulary expansion in a smart way. Instead of memorizing random difficult words, focus on thematic vocabulary connected to daily life. For example, work, health, travel, hobbies, relationships, technology. Choose one theme per week and build 20 to 30 useful expressions around it. Not just single words, but usable phrases. For example, and for the theme health, I haven't been feeling well lately. I have a mild headache. I need to make a doctor's appointment. I'm trying to eat healthier. I've started exercising regularly. Practice saying them, then create small stories using them. I haven't been feeling well lately, so I decided to make a doctor's appointment. The doctor said I just need more rest. 2. I've also started exercising regularly to improve my health. That short story already sounds B1. Remember, progress is not magic. It is repetition with awareness. If you follow daily exposure, sentence-based learning, grammar upgrading, idea connecting, and consistent speaking practice, your brain will slowly stop translating everything. You will start thinking directly in simple English. And that is the turning point between beginner and independent user. In the next section of our journey, we will go deeper into how to structure your weekly plan, how many hours you really need, how to track your improvement, and how to avoid common mistakes that keep learners stuck at A1 for years. For now, pause, reflect, and ask yourself honestly, am I practicing English every day with structure? Or am I just consuming random content without a plan? Your answer will show you why you are where you are. And don't worry. We are building the plan together, step by step. Now let's move deeper into the real transformation process. Because moving from A1 to B1 is not just about studying harder. It is about studying smarter and more consistently. One of the biggest reasons learners stay at A1 for too long is that they confuse exposure with improvement. You watch English videos. You scroll through English content. You listen passively, but you don't actively train your brain. And passive exposure alone is not enough to push you to B1. At B1 level, you must start producing more English than you consume. Let that sink in for a moment. Most A1 learners consume 90% and produce only 10%. They listen a lot. They read a little. But they speak very little and write almost nothing. From today, we reverse that ratio gradually. You still need listening, yes, but you must also speak daily. Even if you speak alone, even if it feels uncomfortable. Let me guide you through a powerful daily speaking structure that works. Choose one daily life topic. For example, food. First, describe your eating habits in 5 simple sentences. I usually eat breakfast at 8 a.m. I prefer simple food like eggs and toast. I drink coffee every morning. I sometimes skip lunch when I'm busy. I try to have dinner with my family. Pause. Breathe. Now upgrade it. I usually have breakfast around 8 a.m., and I prefer something simple like eggs and toast. I always drink coffee in the morning because it helps me feel more awake. Sometimes I skip lunch when I'm busy at work, but I try to have dinner with my family so we can spend some time together. Notice how the second version connects ideas, adds reasons, and sounds more natural. Now take 60 seconds and create your own upgraded paragraph about food. Speak slowly, but connect your sentences. This kind of structured speaking practice trains your brain to think in blocks of meaning, not isolated words. Now let's talk about listening in a strategic way. At a 1 level, you probably listen and feel frustrated because you don't understand everything. That frustration is normal, but here is the truth. B1 learners do not understand every single word either. They understand the main idea and important details. So from today, stop trying to understand 100%. Focus on 70 to 80% comprehension. Let's simulate a listening example. Imagine someone says, "Last week was quite stressful because I had several deadlines at work. However, I managed to finish everything on time, and now I feel much more relaxed." Maybe you don't know the word deadlines, but you understand that the person was stressed because of work and now feels relaxed. That is enough. Train yourself to catch meaning, not perfection. Now repeat that sentence slowly in your mind. Last week was quite stressful because I had several deadlines at work. However, I managed to finish everything on time, and now I feel much more relaxed. Feel the rhythm. Feel how ideas connect. Listening plus repeating is one of the fastest ways to grow from A1 to B1. Now we move to reading. Reading at A1 is usually short and very controlled. But to reach B1, you must start reading slightly longer texts, even if they feel a little challenging. Choose simple news articles, graded readers, or short stories. Read one paragraph. Underline unknown words, but do not stop for every word. Read once for general meaning, then read again for details. Then summarize what you read in your own words. Let's practice that right now. Imagine you read this paragraph. Many people are choosing to work remotely these days. Working from home allows employees to save time on commuting and spend more time with their families. However, some people find it difficult to stay focused without a structured office environment. Now summarize it in simple English. Nowadays, many people work from home. It helps them save time and be with their families. But some people find it hard to concentrate without an office routine. That summarizing skill is a B1 skill. You are not repeating. You are processing. Now, let's talk about writing. Many learners ignore writing because they think speaking is more important. But writing forces your brain to organize ideas clearly, and that directly improves speaking. Every day, write one short paragraph about your life. For example, today was a productive day. I woke up early and finished some important tasks. In the afternoon, I had a meeting with my team. Although I felt a little tired in the evening, I was happy with my progress. Do not worry about perfection. Just write. Then read your paragraph aloud. When you read your own writing aloud, you train pronunciation, grammar awareness, and fluency together. Now, let's discuss vocabulary expansion in a deeper way. At a 1 level, vocabulary is concrete: food, family, weather, daily activities. At B1 level, vocabulary becomes slightly abstract: opinions, feelings, experiences, future plans. So, you must start learning emotional and opinion-based expressions. Instead of saying, "I am happy," say, "I'm really satisfied with the result." Instead of, "I am sad," say, "I felt disappointed because things didn't go as planned." Instead of, "I think it is good," say, "In my opinion, how it's a good idea because it can help people save time." Now practice with me. Take this simple sentence. The movie was good. Upgrade it. The movie was really interesting, especially the ending, which surprised me. Simple sentence. The restaurant was bad. Upgrade it. I was quite disappointed with the restaurant because the service was slow and the food wasn't fresh. This is how your vocabulary becomes functional, not just decorative. Now let's talk about time commitment realistically. To move from A1 to B1, you usually need around 300 to 400 hours of active practice. That may sound like a lot, but if you study 1 hour per day, that is about 1 year. But here is the key. It must be active practice, not background noise. If you only listen passively while doing other things, your improvement will be slow. If you actively speak, write, summarize, repeat, and create, your improvement will accelerate dramatically. Let's build a realistic weekly plan together. Imagine you study 6 days per week. Each day you spend 45 to 60 minutes, 15 minutes listening and repeating, 15 minutes speaking practice about a daily topic, 15 minutes reading and summarizing, 10 minutes writing a short paragraph. That is less than 1 hour, but highly focused. Consistency beats intensity. Now pause and imagine yourself following this plan for 3 months. Can you see the difference? Can you imagine speaking longer without stopping every few words? That is not impossible. It is the natural result of structure. Now let's do a longer guided practice together. Imagine you're planning a short trip. Speak in English. I'm planning to visit another city next month. I haven't decided the exact date yet, but I'm thinking about going during the holidays. I'd like to explore local attractions and try traditional food. I'm also hoping to relax and take a short break from my routine. Pause. Now add more details. I'm planning to visit another city next month because I need a short break. I haven't decided the exact date yet, but I'm thinking about going during the holidays when I have more free time. I'd like to explore local attractions, try traditional food, and maybe meet some new people. I'm really looking forward to this trip because it will help me relax and refresh my mind. Feel the flow. This is B1 level speaking, clear, connected, expressive. Another important shift from A1 to B1 is learning to ask follow-up questions. At A1, and conversations are short. How are you? Fine. At B1, you extend. How have you been lately? I've been quite busy with work. Or what about you? You add curiosity. Why did you decide to change jobs? How was your experience? What are your plans for the future? Conversation becomes dynamic, not robotic. Now practice creating 3 follow-up questions in your mind about any topic. Maybe about hobbies. What kind of hobbies do you enjoy? How did you get interested in that? How often do you practice it? This questioning skill pushes you to B1 naturally. Finally, let's talk about confidence. Confidence does not come before progress. It comes after repeated small wins. Every time you complete a paragraph, every time you speak for 2 minutes without stopping, every time you understand a short story, you build evidence in your brain. Evidence creates belief. Belief creates confidence. And confidence pushes you forward. In our next section, we will go even deeper into eliminating translation habits, building automatic thinking in English, improving pronunciation naturally, and creating longer spontaneous speech without memorization. Stay with me, because the real transformation happens when your brain stops translating and starts reacting directly in English. Now we are going to talk about one of the biggest barriers between A1 and B1, and that is translation. If you are at A1 level, most of your thinking probably happens in your native language. You create the sentence in your mind, then you try to convert it into English, word by word. And while you are translating, the conversation moves forward, and you feel left behind. This habit feels natural, but it slows you down dramatically. To move toward a B1, you must gradually reduce translation and start building direct thinking in English. Now, don't worry. I am not saying you must stop translating completely tomorrow. That would be unrealistic. Instead, we will retrain your brain step by step. The first technique is called micro-thinking practice. Several times a day, choose small moments in your daily life and describe them in simple English inside your mind. For example, you are making tea. Say in your mind, I'm boiling water. I'm adding sugar. The tea smells nice. I'm waiting for it to cool down. Simple, clear, direct. Or imagine you are walking outside. It's a bit windy today. The sky looks cloudy. I think it might rain later. Now, I should take my umbrella. This small habit trains your brain to react in English without translation. At first, your sentences will be basic, and that's okay. Remember, fluency grows from simple, repeated thinking, not complicated vocabulary. Now let's practice this together. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine you just woke up. Describe your morning silently. I woke up a little late today. I felt sleepy, so I stayed in bed for a few minutes. Then I checked my phone and saw some messages. After that, I got up and went to the bathroom. Pause. Feel how natural that sounds. That is already close to B1. Now let's move to another key element: pronunciation and rhythm. Many A1 learners focus only on grammar and vocabulary, but ignore pronunciation. However, pronunciation affects confidence more than grammar. You can make small grammar mistakes, and people will still understand you. But if your rhythm is broken or your stress is unnatural, communication becomes harder. So how do we fix that? Shadowing. Shadowing means listening to a sentence and repeating it immediately. Copying not just words, but rhythm, tone, and speed. Let's practice shadowing together. Listen carefully to this sentence. I didn't expect the meeting to last so long. How? But it turned out to be very productive. Now repeat it slowly. I didn't expect the meeting to last so long, but it turned out to be very productive. Again, feel the stress on expect. Long, productive. This repetition builds muscle memory in your mouth. When you repeat sentences regularly, your brain starts storing them as ready-made chunks. Chunks are powerful. Instead of building sentences word by word, you use whole pieces automatically. For example, I'm looking forward to, at the end of the day, to be honest. As far as I know, these are B1 level chunks. Let's practice building a paragraph using chunks. To be honest, I didn't expect this project to be so challenging. At the beginning, I felt a bit confused, but at the end of the day, I realized that I was learning a lot. I'm actually looking forward to improving my skills even more. That paragraph sounds natural, not robotic. And notice, we didn't use advanced vocabulary, just natural combinations. Now let's talk about expanding answers. A1 answers are short. B1 answers are developed. If someone asks you, why are you learning English? At A1, you might say, because I need it. At B1, you say, I'm learning English because I want to improve my career opportunities. Many international companies require English. And I'd also like to travel more comfortably in the future. Do you see the difference? The idea is the same, but it is expanded. So here is a powerful practice exercise. Take any short answer and expand it into 3 sentences. Short answer. I like music. Expanded answer. I really enjoy listening to music in my free time. It helps me relax after a long day, and sometimes it even improves my mood. I usually listen to pop and soft rock. Now you try. Think about your favorite hobby. Create a 3-sentence answer in your mind. Pause. This expansion technique automatically pushes you toward B1. Now we need to address fear of speaking with others. Many learners practice alone, but freeze in real conversation. This happens because real conversation is unpredictable. So you must practice unpredictability. Here's how. Ask yourself random daily questions and answer them without preparation. For example, what would you do if you had an extra day off? Start speaking immediately. If I had an extra day off, I would probably wake up a bit later than usual and spend the morning relaxing. I might meet a friend for coffee or watch a movie at home. It would be nice to take a short break from my routine. Notice, you didn't prepare, but you managed. This kind of spontaneous speaking builds reaction speed. Another question. What challenges have you faced while learning English? Answer honestly. One of the biggest challenges I've faced is remembering vocabulary. Sometimes I understand words when I read them, but I forget them when I try to speak. However, I've started practicing daily speaking exercises, and it's slowly getting easier. When you practice spontaneous answers daily, your brain becomes flexible. Flexibility is a B1 skill. Now let's talk about grammar development in a deeper way. To reach B1, you need to control past experiences and future plans comfortably. So practice telling short life stories. For example, last year, I decided to improve my English seriously. At first, it was difficult because I didn't have a clear plan. However, after a few months of consistent practice, I started noticing improvement. Now I feel much more confident when I speak. This paragraph includes past actions, time references, contrast words like however, and present reflection. That combination is exactly B1. Now let's upgrade future speaking. In the next few months, I'm going to focus more on speaking practice. I plan to watch English interviews and repeat useful phrases. I also want to read more short articles to expand my vocabulary. Future planning is part of independence. The more clearly you can speak about your past and future, the stronger your B1 foundation becomes. Now pause and imagine your English journey 6 months from now. Describe it in 3 or 4 sentences. Speak confidently. You don't need perfect grammar. You need momentum. Momentum builds fluency. In the next part of our journey, we will build longer storytelling ability, practice opinion discussions, and learn how to move from controlled practice to natural conversation without memorizing scripts. Stay focused. Stay patient. Transformation is not dramatic. It is gradual, and you are already building it. Now we are going to build one of the most important skills that separates A1 from B1. And that is storytelling. At A1 level, you can describe things, but usually in short, disconnected sentences. At B1 level, you can tell a story with a beginning, a middle, and an ending. You can describe what happened, how you felt, and what you learned. Storytelling is powerful because real conversations are full of stories. People don't only say facts, they explain experiences. So let's train this step by step. First, understand the simple structure of a story. You start with context, then describe the event, then explain the result or feeling. Let's practice with a simple situation. Imagine you missed a bus. A one version might sound like this: I missed the bus. I was late. I was angry. Now let's build the B1 version together. Yesterday morning, and I missed the bus because I left home too late. When I arrived at the bus stop, it had already gone. I felt really frustrated because I had an important meeting at work. In the end, I had to take a taxi, which cost more money than usual. Do you notice the difference? We added time reference, a reason, emotional reaction, and a final result. That is storytelling. Now pause. Think about a small problem you had recently. Maybe you lost something. Maybe you forgot an appointment. Maybe your phone battery died. Tell the story in at least 5 sentences. Speak slowly. Add because, so, however, in the end. These connectors are your best friends at B1 level. Now let's go deeper into connectors, because connectors are the bridge between beginner and independent English. Instead of simple linking, use contrast and explanation more naturally. For example, I wanted to go out, but it was raining. Upgrade it. I was planning to go out for a walk. However, it suddenly started raining, so I decided to stay home instead. Another example. I was tired. I finished my work. Upgrade it. Even though I was tired, I managed to finish my work because I didn't want to delay it. See how one simple idea becomes more expressive. Now practice upgrading this sentence. I didn't understand the lesson. Expanded version. I didn't fully understand the lesson at first because the topic was new to me. However, after reviewing it at home and watching an extra explanation video, I started to feel more confident. That is exactly how you sound like a B1 speaker. Now let's move into opinion speaking. At a 1 level, opinions are short. I like it. I don't like it. At B1 level, you explain your reasoning. For example, in my opinion, online learning can be very effective because it allows students to study at their own pace. However, it also requires a lot of self-discipline, which can be challenging for some people. Notice the balance. B1 speakers can present advantages and disadvantages. Let's practice with a daily topic. Topic: working from home. Try saying something like, I think working from home has both benefits and drawbacks. On the one hand, it saves commuting time and allows more flexibility. On the other hand, it can feel isolating, especially if you miss face-to-face interaction with colleagues. Now pause. Choose a simple topic, maybe social media, exercise, fast food. Give your opinion in at least 4 sentences. Add balance. Add reasons. This exercise strengthens your thinking structure. Now let's train longer, spontaneous speech. One powerful technique is called the 2-minute rule. Choose a topic and speak about it for 2 full minutes without stopping. It doesn't matter if you repeat yourself slightly. The goal is continuity. Let's simulate that together. Topic: your typical weekday. Start speaking. On a typical weekday, I usually wake up around 7 in the morning. After getting out of bed, I take a shower and prepare a quick breakfast. I prefer something light because I don't like eating too much early in the day. Then I check my emails and get ready for work. During the day, I focus on my tasks and try to stay organized. In the evening, I usually relax by watching a series or reading a book before going to bed. That was around 1 minute. Now imagine continuing. Sometimes my schedule changes depending on my workload. If I have an important deadline, I might stay up later than usual. However, as I try to maintain a balance between work and personal life because I believe rest is important for productivity. Now you are clearly in B1 territory. The key is flow. Now let's address another important area: listening to different accents. At a 1 level, learners often listen only to slow and clear English. But B1 requires exposure to slightly faster natural speech. Do not jump into extremely fast native content immediately. Instead, gradually increase difficulty. Listen once for general meaning. Listen again and write down key phrases. Repeat difficult sentences aloud. For example, I've been thinking about changing my routine lately because I feel like I need something new. Repeat. Feel the contraction. I've been. This kind of attention to natural structure improves both listening and speaking. Now let's practice paraphrasing. Paraphrasing means saying the same idea in different words. This skill is extremely powerful at B1 level. For example, original sentence: I was exhausted after work. Paraphrase: I felt very tired after finishing my work. Original sentence: the meeting was postponed. Paraphrase: the meeting was delayed and moved to a later time. When you can paraphrase, you don't panic if you forget a word. You simply explain it differently. That flexibility gives you confidence. Now practice paraphrasing this idea. I was nervous before the interview. You could say, I felt anxious before the interview because I didn't know what questions they would ask. See how natural that sounds. Now let's focus on emotional vocabulary expansion. At A1 level, our feelings are basic: happy, sad, angry. At B1, feelings become more detailed: relieved, disappointed, excited, anxious, satisfied, frustrated. Practice building emotional sentences. I felt relieved when I finally finished the project. I was slightly disappointed because my plan didn't work. I felt excited about the opportunity. These words make your speech richer. Now combine emotion with explanation. I felt nervous at first because I had never spoken in front of a large group before. However, once I started talking, I became more confident. That is a clear B1 expression. Now pause. Describe a situation where you felt proud. Use at least 4 sentences. Mention why you felt that way. This emotional storytelling strengthens both vocabulary and structure. Another important step is managing hesitation. At a 1 level, Silence feels scary, but B1 speakers use fillers naturally. To be honest, let me think for a moment. That's an interesting question. Well, I suppose these expressions give your brain time to think. Let's practice. Question. What are your long-term goals? Start with a filler. That's an interesting question. I suppose my long-term goal is to improve my professional skills and gain more experience in my field. I'd also like to travel more and explore different cultures in the future. See how the filler created space. Now practice answering a random question using a filler at the beginning. This small skill increases fluency immediately. As we continue this journey, remember something important. Moving from A1 to B1 is not about becoming perfect. It is about becoming independent. Independent means you can handle everyday communication. You can explain your thoughts clearly. You can describe experiences. You can participate in conversations without freezing. And you are building all of that right now. In the next section, we will design a complete 3-month transformation roadmap with weekly focus areas, measurable goals, and specific practice patterns that ensure you don't stay stuck. Stay with me. You are not just learning English. You are training your mind to think differently, and that is powerful. Now we are going to build a realistic 3-month transformation roadmap because progress becomes much faster when you know exactly what to focus on each week. Many learners stay at A1, not because they are incapable, but because they jump from topic to topic without structure. One day grammar. The next day, random vocabulary. Then a difficult movie. Then nothing for 3 days. That inconsistency keeps you in the same place. So let's design clarity. In the first month, your main goal is foundation strengthening. This means controlling basic tenses, building daily vocabulary themes, and increasing speaking time gradually. During this month, your grammar focus should be present simple. Present, the continuous, past simple, and basic future forms like going to and will. But remember, grammar is not studied in isolation. It is practiced in sentences and paragraphs. For example, present simple practice. I usually start my day with a cup of coffee. I check my emails before beginning work. I try to stay organized because it helps me feel less stressed. Present continuous practice. I'm currently working on improving my English. I'm practicing speaking every day. I'm focusing more on communication than perfection. Past simple practice. Last year, I decided to take my English learning seriously. I started watching simple interviews and writing short daily paragraphs. At first, it was challenging, but I didn't give up. Future form practice. Next month, I'm going to join an online speaking group. I will dedicate at least 1 hour daily to practice. I hope this plan will help me reach B1 level. When you can comfortably speak like this without long pauses, your foundation becomes strong. Now let's talk about vocabulary strategy for the first month. Choose one theme per week. Week 1, daily routine. Week 2, work or study. Week 3, health and lifestyle. Week 4, hobbies and free time. For each theme, build 25 to 30 practical phrases, not difficult words, but useful combinations. For example, daily routine phrases. I hit the snooze button. I rush to get ready. I grab a quick breakfast. I head to work. I wind down in the evening. Now build a paragraph using them. I usually hit the snooze button once before getting up. After that, I rush to get ready because I don't like being late. I grab a quick breakfast and head to work around 8. In the evening, I like to wind down by listening to music. That paragraph already sounds natural and structured. Now, month 2. This is where expansion begins. Your goal now is longer speaking, opinion giving, and storytelling confidence. You will practice speaking for 2 to 3 minutes about one topic daily. You will add connectors like although, however, for example, as a result, in addition. Let's practice connector expansion. Simple idea. I enjoy working from home. Expanded version. I enjoy working from home because it gives me more flexibility. For example, I can manage my schedule better and avoid commuting time. However, sometimes it feels a bit isolating, especially when I miss interacting with colleagues. Overall, I think the benefits outweigh the disadvantages. See how connectors shape your thinking. Month 2 also requires more listening variety. Listen to slightly faster, natural conversations. Don't panic if you miss details. Focus on understanding main points. After listening, summarize aloud. For example, I just listened to a conversation about healthy habits. The speakers discuss the importance of regular exercise and balanced nutrition. They also mentioned that consistency is more important than intensity. That summary skill is critical for B1. Now, month 3. This is integration phase. You combine everything. Longer storytelling, spontaneous questions, opinion debates, short presentations. Let's simulate a mini presentation. Topic: why learning English is important. Learning English is important for several reasons. First of all, it opens up more career opportunities because many international companies use English as their main language. In addition, it allows people to travel more confidently and communicate with individuals from different cultures. Although learning a language can be challenging at times, the long-term benefits are definitely worth the effort. That is B1 level communication. Now let's practice structured debate thinking. Topic: is technology making our lives better? Balanced answer. I believe technology has both positive and negative effects on our lives. On the positive side, it makes communication faster and provides easy access to information. For instance, we can connect with people around the world in seconds. On the negative side, excessive screen time can affect mental health and reduce face-to-face interaction. Therefore, I think the key is balance. This kind of balanced explanation shows independence. Now let's focus on fluency building drills. One powerful drill is repetition with variation. Say a sentence. Then say it again in a slightly different way. Example: I'm tired today. Variation: I feel quite exhausted today because I didn't sleep well. Another example: I want to improve my English. Variation: I'm determined to improve my English so that I can communicate more confidently. This drill strengthens flexibility. Now let's talk about measuring progress. How do you know you are moving toward B1? Ask yourself these questions. Can I speak for 2 minutes about a familiar topic without stopping completely? Can I describe past experiences clearly? Can I explain future plans with detail? Can I give my opinion and support it with reasons? Can I understand the main idea of natural conversations? If your answer to most of these is yes, you are approaching B1. Now let's practice longer emotional storytelling. Think about a challenge you faced while learning English. Speak something like, when I first started learning English, I felt overwhelmed because there were so many new words and grammar rules. Sometimes I doubted my ability to improve. However, I realized that progress takes time. So I decided to focus on small daily practice instead of trying to learn everything at once. Gradually, I began noticing improvements in my listening and speaking skills. Notice the emotional journey. Overwhelmed, doubted, realized, decided, improved. That narrative progression is mature language use. Now let's work on hesitation reduction with structured pauses. When speaking, pause at natural points, after ideas, not in the middle of words. For example, I've been working on improving my English for several months now, and I've noticed that consistency makes a big difference. Even small daily practice sessions can lead to significant improvement over time. Natural pauses sound confident. Uncontrolled pauses sound uncertain. Practice reading your paragraphs aloud. Record yourself. Listen again. This self-feedback method accelerates improvement dramatically. Reading your paragraphs aloud. Record yourself. Listen again. This self-feedback method accelerates improvement dramatically. Now let's address the fear of mistakes once more. At B1, you still make mistakes, but you recover quickly. For example, or I've gone to the new restaurant twice already. Self-correction is normal. Do not freeze. Keep moving. Momentum is more important than perfection. Now pause for reflection. Imagine yourself 3 months from now. You meet someone new. They ask about your work, your hobbies, your future goals. Can you imagine answering calmly, in connected sentences, without panic? That version of you is not far away. It is built through daily structured repetition. And remember, you do not need 8 hours per day. You need 1 focused hour, consistently. That is enough to transform your level. In the next section, we will refine advanced B1 elements, like conditional thinking, describing hypothetical situations, improving reaction speed in conversation, and building automatic chunk recall without Memorization stress. Stay with me. Your English is not stuck. It is developing, step by step. Now we are going to refine the advanced elements that truly solidify your transition from A1 to B1. Because at this stage, you are no longer building basic structure. You are strengthening flexibility, reaction speed, and confidence under pressure. One major skill at B1 level is conditional thinking. At A1, you mostly talk about real facts. At B1, you can talk about possibilities, hypothetical situations, and imagined outcomes. For example, if I have time, I study English. That is basic. Let's upgrade it. If I have time in the evening, I usually study English for at least 30 minutes because I want to improve my fluency. Now let's go deeper. If I had more free time, I would probably join a speaking club to practice more regularly. Notice the difference. Now, you are not only talking about reality, but possibility. Let's practice together. Imagine someone asks you, what would you do if you could travel anywhere in the world? Answer slowly. If I could travel anywhere in the world, I would choose a country with a different culture and language. I think it would be an amazing opportunity to explore new traditions and meet interesting people. I would also try local food and learn more about their daily life. That is B1 level hypothetical thinking. Now pause. Create your own conditional answer to this question. What would you do if you improved your English significantly? Perhaps you might say, if I improved my English significantly, I would feel much more confident in professional situations. I would apply for better job opportunities and communicate more easily with international clients. I would also enjoy watching movies and reading books without subtitles. That flexibility shows progress. Now let's work on reaction speed in conversation. A1 speakers think too long. B1 speakers react faster. We train reaction speed through quick response drills. I will simulate a rapid question session. Answer each question in 2 or 3 sentences in your mind. What did you do yesterday evening? What are your plans for this weekend? What kind of movies do you enjoy and why? What skill would you like to improve this year? Do not overthink. Respond naturally, even if your grammar is not perfect. Keep speaking. Reaction builds fluency. Now let's improve descriptive ability. Describing places and people is an important B1 skill. At A1, description is basic. The park is nice. At B1, you add detail. The park near my house is quite peaceful and well maintained. There are tall trees that provide shade, and many people go there in the evening to relax or exercise. Now describe a person instead of, she is friendly. Say, she is a friendly and supportive person who always listens carefully when someone needs advice. She has a positive attitude and enjoys helping others. Detail creates depth. Depth creates level improvement. Now let's practice situational role imagination. Imagine you are at a job interview. Answer this question. Why should we hire you? You could say, I believe you should hire me because I am a responsible and motivated individual. I have experience working in team environments, and I always try to complete tasks efficiently. In addition, and I am eager to learn and improve my skills. That response is structured, clear, and confident. Now imagine you are helping a tourist in your city. They ask, "Can you recommend a place to visit?" You respond, "I would recommend visiting the Central Park because it's one of the most beautiful places in the city. It's especially nice in the evening when the weather is cooler. You can walk around, take photos, and enjoy the peaceful atmosphere." This kind of real-life scenario practice prepares you for spontaneous communication. Now let's strengthen opinion defense skills. At B1 level, you don't just give opinions, you support them logically. For example, I think learning English online can be very effective because it allows students to access a wide range of resources. However, it requires strong self-discipline, which not everyone has. Notice how you present reason and contrast. Now let's try a slightly more complex discussion. Do you think people should work fewer hours? You might answer, "I believe working fewer hours could improve overall well-being because people would have more time for family and personal interests. However, companies might struggle to maintain productivity if they reduce working hours too much. Therefore, I think a balanced approach would be more realistic." That balanced reasoning reflects B1 maturity. Now let's move into chunk automation. Earlier, we talked about chunks. Now we expand that list. As a matter of fact, from my perspective, at the same time, on the contrary, in the long run, to some extent, practice integrating them naturally. From my perspective, learning English requires patience and consistency. As a matter of fact, I've noticed that small daily practice sessions make a significant difference in the long run. This kind of automatic chunk recall reduces hesitation. Now let's focus on longer storytelling with reflection. Imagine you failed at something. Tell the story with learning reflection. A few months ago, I tried to give a presentation in English at work. I felt nervous and made several mistakes, which made me feel embarrassed at first. However, after the presentation, I realized that the experience was valuable because it showed me what I needed to improve. Since then, I've been practicing speaking more regularly, and I feel much more confident now. Notice the growth mindset. That reflective element is common at B1 level. Now let's practice describing habits with comparison. In the past, I used to avoid speaking English because I was afraid of making mistakes. Now, I try to speak whenever I have the opportunity, even if I'm not completely sure about my grammar. Comparing past and present shows progress and control of tense. Another advanced B1 skill is summarizing conversations. Imagine you attended a meeting. Summarize it. During the meeting, where we discussed the upcoming project deadline and divided responsibilities among team members, we also talked about potential challenges and possible solutions. Overall, the discussion was productive, and everyone agreed on the next steps. That concise summary is strong B1 communication. Now let's combine several elements into one extended practice. Topic: personal growth. In the past year, I've learned that consistency is more important than motivation. At first, I used to wait until I felt inspired to study English, but that approach didn't work well. However, once I started practicing daily, even for short periods, I noticed steady improvement. If I continue following this routine, I believe I will reach an even higher level in the future. Notice the use of past reflection, contrast, condition, future belief. That integration shows clear development. Now pause. Reflect on your own learning journey. Speak for at least 2 minutes about what has changed since you began learning English. Do not rush. Use connectors. Add feelings. Add reflection. This long-form reflection strengthens fluency deeply. Remember, B1 is not about speaking like a native. It is about handling everyday life with independence. You can describe events, express opinions, ask questions, react naturally, and manage conversation flow. You are building all of these skills step by step. In the next section, we will consolidate everything into a powerful daily routine blueprint. Combine listening, unspeaking, reading, writing, chunk training, and reaction drills into one efficient system that guarantees steady progress if followed consistently. Stay committed. Stay patient. You are no longer a beginner. You are evolving toward independence. Now we are going to bring everything together into one powerful daily routine blueprint. Because knowledge without structure leads to confusion. But knowledge with structure leads to progress. At this stage, you already understand grammar foundations, storytelling, opinion building, connectors, conditional thinking, chunk usage, and spontaneous reaction drills. Now the question becomes, how do you organize all of this into one efficient daily system that truly moves you from A1 to B1? Let's build a realistic 1-hour model. Imagine you have one focused hour each day, not distracted, not multitasking, fully present. The first 15 minutes are for controlled listening and shadowing. Choose a short audio at slightly challenging level. Not too easy, not too advanced. Listen once for general meaning. Do not pause. Just understand the topic. Then listen again. This time, pause after each sentence and repeat it aloud. For example, I've been trying to improve my daily routine lately because I feel like I need more structure. Repeat. Feel the rhythm. Then continue. Although it hasn't been easy, I've noticed small improvements over time. Repeat. This repetition builds automatic rhythm and chunk memory. After 15 minutes, you move to speaking expansion. Choose the same topic as the audio. Now speak about it in your own words. I've also been trying to improve my routine recently. I realize that waking up earlier helps me feel more productive. However, it requires discipline, which I'm still developing. Even if your sentences are not perfect, continue. Continuity builds fluency. Next 15 minutes. Reading and summarizing. Choose a short article or paragraph. Read it carefully. Then close it. And summarize from memory. For example, the article discussed the importance of maintaining healthy habits. It explained that small daily actions, such as drinking enough water and exercising regularly, can significantly improve long-term health. This trains retention and processing. Now the next 10 minutes. Writing reflection. Write a short paragraph about your day. Today, I focused on improving my English speaking skills. I practiced shadowing for 15 minutes and tried to speak without translating. Although I made some mistakes, I felt more confident than yesterday. Writing organizes thoughts. Reading your paragraph aloud reinforces pronunciation. Finally, the last 5 minutes. Reaction drill. Ask yourself random questions and answer immediately. What did I learn today? What is my biggest challenge right now? How will I improve tomorrow? Quick responses. Train conversational agility. This 1-hour blueprint, if followed consistently, transforms your level within months. Now let's deepen your conversational endurance. At B1 level, you should aim to speak comfortably for 3 to 4 minutes on familiar topics. Let's simulate extended speech practice. Topic: personal goals. In the next year, I would like to focus more on personal development. I plan to improve my English fluency so that I can communicate more confidently in professional situations. In addition, I want to develop healthier habits, such as exercising regularly and managing my time more efficiently. Although balancing everything can be challenging, I believe that consistency will help me achieve my goals. Notice how ideas connect naturally. Now continue expanding. I've realized that setting realistic goals is more effective than trying to change everything at once. For example, instead of studying for several hours in one day, I prefer shorter daily sessions because they are easier to maintain. Over time, these small efforts accumulate and produce visible results. This is Fluent, a structured B1 communication. Now let's address fear of longer conversations. Many learners feel confident alone but nervous with real people. The key is simulation. Imagine a friend asks you about your learning progress. You respond, "I've been studying English more seriously in the past few months. At first, I struggled with speaking because I was constantly translating in my head. However, after practicing daily shadowing and spontaneous speaking drills, I've noticed that I react faster now. I still make mistakes, but I don't feel as anxious as before." This type of honest, reflective conversation builds authenticity. Now, let's practice interruption recovery. In real conversations, the interruptions happen. Someone may ask a follow-up question unexpectedly. You must remain calm. For example, you say, "I've been focusing on improving my vocabulary recently." They interrupt. "What kind of vocabulary?" You respond smoothly. "Mostly daily life vocabulary and professional expressions that I can use in meetings." That smooth continuation is B1 readiness. Now, let's strengthen paraphrasing under pressure. If you forget a word like appointment, you can say, I have a meeting with the doctor. If you forget delayed, it was moved to a later time. Flexibility eliminates panic. Now, let's integrate emotional depth into everyday conversation. Topic: overcoming difficulty. There were times when I felt discouraged because my progress seemed slow. However, I reminded myself that language learning is a gradual process. Once I shifted my mindset and focused on daily practice instead of quick results, I began noticing steady improvement. That emotional articulation shows maturity in expression. Now, let's talk about conversational flow markers. When telling longer stories, use signals like first of all, after that, meanwhile, eventually, in the end. Example: first of all, I decided to create a structured study plan. After that, I started practicing speaking every day, even if it felt uncomfortable. Meanwhile, I continued improving my listening skills through short podcasts. Eventually, I began noticing that my responses became more natural. In the end, consistency made the biggest difference. These markers organize speech clearly. Now pause. Tell your own learning journey using at least 4 flow markers. Slowly, confidently. You are not memorizing. You are constructing thought patterns. Now let's address mental stamina. Speaking in English for several minutes requires concentration. To build stamina, gradually increase speaking time. Start with 1 minute, then 2, then 3. Record yourself. Listen again. Notice improvement. This self-monitoring builds awareness. Now, let's simulate a mini discussion combining many skills. Topic: technology and daily life. I believe technology has significantly changed the way we communicate. On the one hand, it allows us to stay connected with people around the world instantly. For example, video calls make long-distance relationships much easier to maintain. On the other hand, excessive use of technology can reduce face-to-face interaction and sometimes create distractions. Therefore, I think it's important to use technology responsibly and maintain a healthy balance. That response includes opinion, balance, example, conclusion, clear B1 demonstration. Now reflect on your own habits with technology. Speak for 2 minutes. Use connectors. Add 1 example. Add 1 conclusion. Practice makes structure automatic. As we move forward, remember this key truth. You do not become B1 by waiting. You become B1 by producing English daily, speaking, writing, summarizing, paraphrasing, reacting. Repetition with awareness builds automaticity, and automaticity builds independence. In the next section, we will polish final refinement strategies, including error correction habits, long-term motivation systems, plateau management, and how to continue progressing beyond B1 once you reach it. Stay focused. You are closer than you think. Now we are going to polish the final refinement strategies that truly push you across the line from upper A2 into solid B1. Because at this stage, the difference is not huge grammar changes. It is stability, clarity, and control under real-life pressure. One important refinement skill is intelligent error correction. At a 1 level, mistakes feel like failure. At B1 level, mistakes become information. Instead of saying, "I'm bad at English," you start asking, "What exactly did I do wrong and how can I fix it?" For example, Mao, imagine you say, "He go to work yesterday." You immediately notice the mistake and correct yourself. He went to work yesterday. That small self-correction is powerful. Now imagine a slightly longer sentence. I didn't went to the meeting because I was tired. Pause. Correct it. I didn't go to the meeting because I was tired. This awareness develops through active listening and recording yourself. If you want to grow faster, record your speaking once or twice a week. Listen carefully. Notice repeated grammar mistakes, pronunciation problems, or unnatural pauses. Then focus specifically on improving those weak points during the next week. Targeted correction is much more effective than random practice. Now let's talk about plateau management. At some point, you might feel like you are not improving anymore. This is completely normal. Progress in language learning is not a straight line. It comes in waves. You improve quickly, then you feel stuck. Then suddenly you improve again. When you feel stuck, do not panic. Instead, change the type of practice. If you are focusing mostly on grammar, switch to conversation drills. If you are listening a lot, increase speaking output. If you are studying alone, should try interacting with others. Changing stimulus wakes up your brain. Now let's work on refining pronunciation at B1 level. You do not need a perfect accent, but you need clear pronunciation and natural stress. For example, compare these two versions. I want to improve my English because it is important. Now, natural stress. I want to improve my English because it's important. Notice how the rhythm flows. Practice linking words. I want to improve it. Becomes. I want to improve it. I have been trying. Becomes. I've been trying. These natural reductions make you sound more fluent. Now, let's refine conversation continuation skills. Sometimes conversations become silent because you don't know how to continue. At B1, you use expansion tools. You ask follow-up questions. You add short comments. For example, friend, I started a new job last week. A1 response. Oh, good. B1 response. Oh, that sounds interesting. What kind of position is it? How has your experience been so far? This curiosity keeps conversation alive. Now let's practice conversation layering. Topic: travel. I recently visited another city for a short trip. The weather was beautiful and I had the chance to explore local markets. One of the highlights was trying traditional food, which was completely different from what I usually eat. Overall, the experience was refreshing and helped me take a break from my routine. Now layer reflection. This trip reminded me how important it is to step out of your comfort zone occasionally. Even short experiences can broaden your perspective and give you new ideas. See how reflection deepens communication. Now let's strengthen spontaneous debate skills. Topic: remote work versus office work. Balanced response. I believe both remote work and office work have their advantages. Remote work offers flexibility and saves commuting time, which can improve work-life balance. However, working in an office encourages teamwork and face-to-face collaboration. In my opinion, a hybrid approach might be the most effective solution. Clear structure, clear reasoning, calm tone. That is stable. B1 communication. Now let's talk about long-term motivation systems. Motivation is emotional. Discipline is structural. If you only rely on motivation, you will stop when you feel tired. But if you create routine, you continue even on low energy days. For example, decide that every evening at 8 p.m. you practice English for 45 minutes. No negotiation. Even if you feel lazy, you start for 5 minutes. Usually, once you start, you continue. Consistency builds identity. You stop saying, "I'm trying to learn English," and start saying, "I am someone who practices English daily." That identity shift supports long-term growth. Now, let's refine summarizing complex ideas. Imagine you watched a short documentary about climate change. Summarize it. The documentary explained how rising global temperatures are affecting ecosystems and weather patterns. It highlighted the importance of reducing carbon emissions and investing in renewable energy. Overall, though, the message emphasized collective responsibility and long-term sustainability. Even if details are missing, the main message is clear. That clarity is enough for B1. Now, let's practice describing advantages and disadvantages clearly. Topic: social media. Social media can be a powerful communication tool because it allows people to connect instantly across long distances. It also provides access to educational content and professional networking opportunities. However, excessive use may lead to distraction and reduce productivity. Therefore, moderation is essential. Structured thinking makes communication strong. Now pause. Choose any daily topic and describe one advantage and one disadvantage in 4 sentences. Slowly, confidently. Now let's address the final mindset shift. From A1 to B1, Idam, you move from survival English to functional English. Survival English is basic communication. Functional English allows you to participate actively in conversation. Express opinions, explain reasons, share experiences, reflect on ideas, and manage interactions smoothly. You may still search for words sometimes. You may still make mistakes. But you do not freeze. You do not panic. You continue speaking. That is independence. Now imagine yourself in a real-life situation 6 months from now. You are having a conversation with someone in English. You are describing your work. explaining your goals, giving your opinion on a topic, asking follow-up questions, and reacting naturally. That version of you is built through daily structure, not magic, not talent, structure, repetition, our awareness. Before we move to the final consolidation phase of this journey, pause and reflect. What has changed in your mindset since the beginning of this lesson? Are you thinking more in English already? Are you noticing that longer sentences feel more possible? Growth begins with awareness, and you are aware now. In the final section, we will consolidate everything into one complete transformation summary. Reinforce your roadmap and leave you with a clear action plan that ensures you continue progressing steadily beyond B1 once you reach it. Stay with me. You are not just studying English. You are building independence. Now we are entering the final consolidation phase of your journey from A1 to B1. And this is where everything connects together into one clear transformation picture. At this point, you understand grammar foundations. You practice storytelling. You can give opinions with reasons. You know how to use connectors. You can describe past experiences and future plans. You can handle hypothetical situations. And you are training reaction speed. But consolidation means turning all of that into stable habit, not temporary effort. Let's begin by revisiting what truly defines B1 level in real life. A B1 speaker can walk into a conversation and survive comfortably. Not perfectly. Not like a native, but independently. You can introduce yourself in detail, describe your background, explain your goals, share experiences, react to questions, agree or disagree politely, and continue speaking even if small mistakes appear. That independence is your target. Now, let's simulate a full real life. The interaction to test integration of all skills. Imagine you are meeting someone new at a professional event. They ask you, "So, can you tell me a little about yourself?" You respond, "Sure. I currently work in a field that requires regular communication and organization. Over the past year, I've been focusing on improving my professional skills, especially my English communication abilities. I believe that strong communication is essential in today's global environment. In my free time, I enjoy reading and exercising because they help me stay balanced." Notice the flow. Now they ask, "What motivates you to improve your English?" You respond, "One of my main motivations is career growth. Many opportunities require strong English skills, and I want to be prepared for those opportunities. In addition, I genuinely enjoy learning languages because it allows me to connect with people from different cultures. Although it can be challenging at times, I find the process rewarding." That is natural. B1 communication. Now they ask a follow-up question. What has been the most difficult part of learning English for you? You respond calmly. The most difficult part for me has been speaking spontaneously. At the beginning, I used to translate everything in my head, which slowed me down. However, after practicing daily speaking drills and shadowing exercises, I've noticed that my reaction speed has improved significantly. This entire simulated exchange demonstrates structure, reflection, emotional vocabulary, and connectors. Now pause and imagine yourself in that scenario. Can you see how achievable it is with structured practice? Now let's reinforce your long-term sustainability plan. To move beyond B1, once you reach it, you must continue building 3 habits: daily exposure, daily production, weekly reflection. Daily exposure means listening or reading something meaningful every day. Daily production means speaking or writing something every day. Weekly reflection means evaluating progress once per week. Ask yourself, what improved this week? What still feels difficult? What will I adjust next week? This reflection keeps you moving forward instead of staying comfortable. Now let's simulate a full 3-minute independent monologue to consolidate everything. Topic: personal growth through language learning. Learning English has been more than just studying grammar and vocabulary for me. It has taught me patience and consistency. At first, I expected quick results, but I soon realized that real progress takes time and daily effort. There were moments when I felt discouraged, especially when I struggled to express my thoughts clearly. However, instead of giving up, I decided to focus on small improvements each day. Gradually, I began to notice that I could speak longer without hesitation and understand conversations more easily. If I continue practicing consistently, I'm confident that I will not only maintain my B1 level, but eventually move beyond it. This monologue includes past reflection, emotional honesty, conditional thinking, and future planning. That integration is your sign of readiness. Now let's strengthen resilience mindset. Language learning is not a straight road. There will be days when you feel tired, days when you make more mistakes than usual, days when you doubt yourself. But remember this truth: fluency is not built on perfect days. It is built on consistent, imperfect days. Even 5 minutes of speaking practice on a low-energy day keeps the habit alive. Habit is stronger than motivation. Now let's reinforce conversation repair strategies. If you don't understand something, I say politely, "Could you please repeat that?" "I'm not sure I understood completely. Could you explain it again?" If you need time to think, "Let me think for a moment. That's an interesting question." These simple strategies protect your confidence in real interaction. Now imagine a small debate situation. Someone says, "I think learning English is too difficult for adults." You respond, "I understand why some people might feel that way, especially if they have limited time. However, I believe adults can successfully learn English with consistent practice and realistic expectations. In fact, 1. Adults often have stronger discipline and clearer goals compared to children. Calm disagreement, logical reasoning, balanced tone. That is mature communication. Now let's finalize your transformation checklist in practical thought form. Can you describe your daily routine in detail? Can you explain a past experience with emotion and reflection? Can you discuss your future plans confidently? Can you give your opinion and support it with reasons? Can you handle unexpected questions without freezing? If your answer is yes to most of these, you are operating at B1 level. And if some still feel difficult, that is normal. Growth continues. Now take a deep breath. Think back to the beginning of your journey. You were focused on single words, short sentences, hesitation. Now you are building paragraphs, connecting ideas, expressing emotions, debating topics. That is real progress. Remember, moving from A1 to B1 is not about becoming impressive. It is about becoming independent. Independent learners can continue improving without constant guidance. And that is where you are heading. Keep your routine. Keep your reflection. Keep your courage to speak imperfectly. Because imperfect speaking leads to confident communication. You now have the roadmap. You understand the system. All that remains is daily action, step by step, day by day. You are no longer stuck at A1. You are moving forward with structure, clarity, and confidence. Now we complete your transformation journey by turning everything into one final, clear, practical action plan that you can start using today. Not tomorrow, not next month, but today. At this point, you understand something very important. Going from A1 to B1 is not about intelligence. It is not about talent. It is not about memorizing thousands of words. It is about structured repetition, daily production, and emotional stability during communication. So now, let's build your final integration routine in real-life form. Imagine tomorrow morning, you wake up. Instead of checking your phone immediately, you start micro-thinking in English. I feel a bit sleepy today. I didn't sleep very well last night. I hope I'll feel more energetic after breakfast. This small habit trains direct thinking. Later in the day, you listen to a short audio for 15 minutes. You repeat key sentences. You shadow the rhythm. You notice natural contractions. You don't just listen. You interact with the language. In the afternoon or evening, you speak for 2 to 3 minutes about your day. Today was more productive than yesterday. I managed to complete several tasks that I had postponed earlier. Although I felt slightly distracted in the afternoon, I regained my focus and finished everything on time. You are no longer afraid of longer sentences. At night, you write a short reflection paragraph. Overall, I feel satisfied with today's progress. Even though my pronunciation still needs improvement, I can see clear growth in my confidence. If I continue following this routine, I believe I will reach an even higher level soon. That single day contains thinking, listening, speaking, and writing. Repeat that for 90 days. and your level changes naturally. Now let's do one final long-form integration practice together. Imagine someone asks you this complex question. How has learning English changed your perspective on communication and personal growth? Take a deep breath and answer. Learning English has significantly changed my perspective on communication because it has shown me how powerful language can be in connecting people. At first, I focused only on grammar and vocabulary, but over time, I realized that communication is more about expressing ideas clearly and confidently. Through consistent practice, I developed patience and resilience, which also improved other areas of my life. In addition, learning English has opened my mind to different cultures and viewpoints, helping me become more adaptable and open-minded. Although the journey has been challenging at times, it has strengthened my confidence and taught me the value of daily progress. That response demonstrates structured thought, emotional depth, connectors, reflection, and confidence. That is solid B1 performance. Now imagine a spontaneous casual conversation. Friend, what are you planning to do this weekend? You. I'm planning to spend some time with my family and catch up on a few personal projects. I might also review some English practice materials because I want to stay consistent. If the weather is nice, I'd love to go for a walk and relax a bit. Calm, connected, natural, no panic, no freezing, just communication. Now let's address one final truth. You will never feel completely ready. There will always be new words to learn. There will always be small mistakes. But readiness is not about perfection. It is about willingness to speak despite imperfection. When you can continue speaking even after making a mistake. When you can explain a forgotten word in another way. When you can stay calm during unexpected questions. You have crossed into independence. That is B1. Now close your eyes for a moment. Imagine yourself 3 months from now. You are in a conversation. You are listening carefully. You respond naturally. You ask follow-up questions. You give opinions confidently. You describe experiences clearly. You are not perfect, but you are independent. That version of you is built from daily action, not from watching randomly, not from hoping, but from structured, repeated, conscious practice. Remember the formula. Exposure plus production plus reflection equals progress. Daily thinking in English. Daily speaking without fear. Weekly evaluation of mistakes. Gradual increase in speaking length. That is your system. And systems create results. If you ever feel stuck again, return to the basics. Speak about your day. Tell a small story. Give an opinion with one reason. Use one connector. Add one reflection sentence. That simple structure always works. Because B1 is not complexity. It is clarity and connection. You now have the roadmap. You understand the strategy. You have practiced structured speaking. You have strengthened reaction speed. You have trained conditional thinking. You have learned to connect ideas naturally. You have built emotional vocabulary. You have developed storytelling ability. You have improved conversation continuation skills. You have created a sustainable daily routine. And most importantly, you have shifted your mindset from fear to action. Keep going. Keep practicing. Keep speaking even when it feels uncomfortable, because growth happens just beyond comfort. Step by step, sentence by sentence, day by day, you move from A1 survival to B1 independence. And once you are independent, the journey continues even further. Before we completely close this journey from A1 to B1, I want you to internalize everything we've built together, not as theory, but as a living system you can apply every single day. Reaching B1 is not a finish line. It is a shift in identity. At A1, you are trying to understand English. At B1, you are using English. That difference changes everything. You no longer wait for perfect grammar. You no longer panic when someone speaks slightly faster. You no longer freeze when you forget one word. Instead, you adapt. You paraphrase. You continue. You manage the conversation. And that management is the real sign of independence. Now let's strengthen your final integration with one extended real-life scenario. Imagine you are in an English-speaking workplace meeting. Your manager asks for your opinion about a new project idea. You respond calmly. From my perspective, the new project has strong potential, especially if we focus on clear communication within the team. In the past, we faced challenges because expectations were not clearly defined. However, if we establish realistic goals and maintain regular updates, I believe we can avoid similar issues. Of course, there may be unexpected obstacles, but with proper planning, we should be able to handle them effectively. Notice the structure. Opinion. Reference to past experience. Conditional thinking. Balanced confidence. That is stable. B. One communication under mild pressure. Now imagine a casual social situation. Someone asks you about your hobbies. You answer. In my free time, I enjoy reading and exercising. Reading allows me to relax and expand my knowledge, while exercise helps me maintain both physical and mental balance. Recently, I've been trying to combine both habits by listening to audiobooks while walking. It's a simple routine, though, but it keeps me motivated, clear, connected, reflective. Now imagine someone disagrees with you in conversation. They say, "I think learning English every day is too stressful." You respond respectfully. I understand your point, especially if someone has a busy schedule. However, I believe that even short daily practice sessions can make a big difference over time. It doesn't have to be intense, and consistency is more important than duration. Calm disagreement, logical reasoning, polite tone, that is communicative maturity. Now let's consolidate the mental model one last time. When you face a question, pause briefly, organize your idea into 3 parts: statement, reason or example, Conclusion or reflection. For example, question: why is time management important? Answer: I believe time management is important because it helps people stay organized and reduce stress. For example, when I plan my tasks in advance, I feel more productive and focused throughout the day. In the long run, good time management improves both efficiency and overall well-being. That three-part structure works for almost any B1 response. Now let's strengthen automatic thinking one final time. Describe what you did yesterday in 6 connected sentences. Add at least one connector. Add one emotional word. Add one reflection sentence. For example, yesterday was quite productive because I managed to complete several important tasks. In the morning, I attended a meeting that required careful preparation. Although I felt slightly nervous at first, I gradually became more confident. After work, I spent some time reviewing my English practice materials. I felt satisfied with my progress, especially because I noticed fewer pauses while speaking. Overall, it was a positive and motivating day. That is controlled. Now stable B1 performance. Now reflect deeply. When you first started at A1, you might have said, yesterday, I go work. I tired. I watch TV. Now you build layered paragraphs. You explain feelings. You connect ideas. You reflect on outcomes. That transformation is measurable, and it is built on daily action. As you continue forward, remember this internal checklist whenever you practice. Am I speaking in full sentences? Am I connecting ideas naturally? Am I adding reasons or examples? Am I reflecting instead of just stating facts? If yes, you are strengthening B1 habits. And here is one more truth you must remember. Fluency is not speed. Fluency is control. You do not need to speak extremely fast. You need to speak clearly, calmly, and continuously. Even moderate speed with clear structure sounds confident. Now imagine yourself 6 months from today. You are having a conversation entirely in English. You are listening carefully, responding thoughtfully, asking follow-up questions, expressing opinions without hesitation, handling disagreement calmly, and even enjoying the process. That future version of you is not distant. It is built from the routines you start today. Small daily speaking sessions, short written reflections, listening with active repetition, regular reaction drills, weekly self-evaluation, consistency over intensity, action over fear, structure over randomness. This is how you move from A1 to B1 in a way that actually works, not through pressure, not through unrealistic expectations, but through disciplined, structured human practice. You now understand the roadmap. You have practiced the skills. You have built the mindset. And you have seen how each small habit connects into long-term independence. From this point forward, each sentence you speak, each paragraph you write, each conversation you attempt, moves you further into confident, functional English. Thank you so much for spending this time with me and committing to your English growth. I truly hope that this step-by-step plan has given you not only clarity, but also confidence, because now you understand that moving from A1 to B1 is not about luck. It is about structure, consistency, and daily action. If you found this lesson helpful, take a moment to reflect on one specific habit you will start applying from today. Maybe daily micro thinking, maybe 2-minute speaking practice, maybe short written reflections. Choose one. Start small and stay consistent. Remember, progress does not happen overnight, but it absolutely happens when you show up every day, even on the days when you feel tired, even on the days when you make mistakes. Keep going, because every imperfect sentence is building stronger communication skills. If you enjoyed this lesson and want more practical English training like this, make sure you subscribe and stay connected. There is so much more ahead on your journey, and I'm here to guide you step by step. Keep practicing, keep speaking, keep believing in your progress, and I'll see you in the next lesson.